It starts with a man sacrificing his own sanity to save a little girl he doesn't know, and ends with that little girl sacrificing herself to save her friends. Their story shows us that even the most heartbreaking relationships can carry the deepest lessons about love, sacrifice, and that the strongest families aren't always the ones we're born into. When the world collapsed after the Mushroom War, Simon found a little girl wandering through the ruins by herself, crying. Her name was Marceline. No one told him to protect her or even care for her. He just did. He immediately cheered her up by getting Hambo, a stuffed toy, which will be really important later. From that moment on, it was just the two of them. They continued scavenging for food, hiding from monsters, and making jokes when the times were tough.
Hey, check it out, a VHS tape. You want to watch a movie?
Yeah.
Man, this is a boring movie.
But every time danger arrived, Simon had to protect Marcy. He didn't want to put on the very crown that was slowly chipping away at his sanity, but he did it for her.
You're not going to put it on, are you?
I have to protect us.
After each fight, he began slipping away more and more, so Marcy made him promise not to put it on again.
Simon, promise me you won't put it on again.
Okay, I promise.
A promise that he wouldn't be able to keep later. It didn't matter how hard Simon tried to cheer her up in those tough times.
Mute.
When he saw Marcy getting sick, he knew he had to be her beacon of hope.
Oh no.
What really stood out to me in this period is how Simon sang to Marcy when she was scared, possibly becoming the inspiration for Marcy's passion for music later.
Yeah!
Your songs are so good.
Something that would shape her entire personality, all because of him. He gave her as close to a childhood as anyone could in the apocalypse. Because of Marcy's sickness, Simon goes on an errand to find chicken soup, wandering through a half-destroyed pharmacy like it's just another Tuesday. And when they're attacked, he uses the crown again, but this time as a close combat weapon. He's not putting it on like he promised. But moments later, when they're completely surrounded, he has no other choice.
You have to keep it together, Simon, for her.
Simon, you promise.
He puts on the crown again, for Marcy. And when he's dealt with all the monsters using his powers, he finally gets the chicken soup brought to him by the same Mother Gum that created Princess Bubblegum. Sadly, though, from that moment on, Simon was never the same again.
I love you, Simon.
I love you, Gunter.
The influence of the crown had become too strong, leading to him not even remembering her name anymore. His time was short-lived. He knew the crown was going to eventually fully take over his mind. He just didn't know when that time would come. So Simon started writing notes, dozens of them, little scraps of paper filled with reminders, warnings, apologies, anything that might help future Simon remember what he was about to forget. We see the last of these notes in I Remember You, where Ice King tries to write a song with Marceline, unaware that it's built from letters he once wrote to her. The notes are in the lyrics, which I can't play because copyright, but I'll put them up for you in text. From all these notes, it becomes crystal clear. Simon was losing himself, but he didn't want to lose her. He didn't want to scare or hurt her while under the influence of the crown. So he wrote and he wrote, hoping it would be enough. But it wasn't. Eventually, we see what happens in Everything Stays. It's a flashback, but it hits like a goodbye.
Hello, Marcy. I don't know if you'll ever hear this message. I fear my thoughts are no longer my own.
He records one final tape, stows it away, and turns to Marceline.
Please don't go.
I have to protect you.
He holds her, trying to wipe one last tear from her eye, but when that turns directly into ice and hurts her, he knew he had to leave.
You see, I have to go now. Goodbye, Marcy.
Wait, no! Wait! Ugh. Simon! Simon!
He knows what's coming. She doesn't. He left to protect her from the person he was becoming, and that's a kind of grief people don't talk about enough. It's the kind where no one's gone, but nothing's the same. The kind where you're mourning someone who still walks, still talks, but no longer is the same person, no longer knows who you are anymore. For Marceline, it wasn't about getting him back. It was about living with that absence. about carrying the love of someone who no longer remembered giving it. It's a feeling many people know. If you've ever watched someone fade through illness, trauma, or time, you know that hollow space it leaves behind. Simon left to protect her, and she grew up holding that memory like a scar she refused to cover. The next time she sees him, he's the Ice King. And in all those centuries, something lingers. He still likes Marceline's music. He doesn't remember why, only that it makes him feel something. So he shows up at her doorstep, uninvited and clueless.
What are you doing here? I told you not to come around me.
And yet, she doesn't kick him out. When Finn and Jake offer to take him away for bothering her, she turns them away.
No, he can stay.
What? Yeah, what?
It's all right. We're working on a song together.
Even now, she still sees something worth protecting. You can feel the ache behind her words. He irritates her, exhausts her, but she still loves him because she knows what's underneath that crown. And while Ice King is at Marceline's home, there's a moment that stands out. He shoves her, startled, but then, immediately, he apologizes, then hides on top of the fridge in guilt. It's more remorse than he's ever shown towards anyone else. Not Finn, not Jake, just her. He doesn't know why, but some part of him still knows she mattered. From that moment on, something changes. Marceline never gets Simon back, not fully, but she starts visiting the Ice King again. In Bad Little Boy, we see her at his castle, calmer, more patient. She's not expecting a breakthrough, she's just spending time with him. She doesn't even flinch when he acts weird, because at this point she's made peace with the fact that he's not Simon anymore, but he's still someone. And in Simon and Marcy, the bond between them is undeniable. She doesn't hide it. She openly tells Finn and Jake how much she cares about him, how much he was there for her when no one else was. She invites him to play basketball. Not because he's cured, not because she's nostalgic, but because she still sees him in there. And when she looks at the Ice King, she doesn't see a joke. She sees a man who once gave her Hambo, made her laugh, and carried her through the end of the world. He was never just that crazy wizard to her. He was family. Little did Marcy know, everything was about to change. In the episode Betty, Bella Nosh is brought into Oo and casts an anti-magic spell over Wizard City, stripping all magic from its users. And suddenly, the crown shuts off. Ice King becomes Simon again. No confusion, no madness, just Simon, for the first time in years. And the first thing he does, he unknowingly beats up Marcy's ex-boyfriend, then picks up a book, sees a photo of Marceline, and calls her. He doesn't know where she is or what she's doing, but he still knows she's the one person he can trust, because even after everything, she never gave up on him. Marceline and Simon are overjoyed to see one another, but Marceline becomes concerned with Simon's health as he's dying. Simon seems to have accepted this and wants to use his final hours to create a time portal to the past to contact Betty and apologize for driving her away. But to do so, Simon requests Marceline to sacrifice an object that's been loved and tended for centuries, as it would be the procedure's ideal catalyst. So Marceline gives him Hambo. She sacrifices the last piece of her childhood, the stuffed toy Simon gave her when the world was ending, when she was sick, so that he can say goodbye to someone else. It's one of the most selfless things she ever does. Simon uses the portal to reach Betty in the past, and just before it collapses, Betty jumps through to join him in the present. They don't get a perfect reunion, but for one fleeting second, they find each other again. Betty is not at all at peace with Simon's decision to die, so she makes it her personal life goal to save him. She gets to Bella Nosh, breaks the spell, and the crown reactivates. So Simon is gone again, and Ice King returns. But Marceline doesn't cry. She just watches, knowing she already gave him the goodbye he never got the first time. The next time we see their relationship evolve is in episode The Empress Eyes. It adds an entirely new layer to their history. The Empress is a vampire who once hypnotized Simon before he fully lost himself to the crown.
Oh, lady! Hi.
Wait, you don't remember me?
Marceline never forgot, and she's not about to let the same thing happen again. So when the Empress returns, Marceline steps in to protect Ice King. She reveals that Simon was the reason she even started hunting vampires in the first place.
She's a vampire! I hunt vampires because of you!
It was her way of protecting humans, just like Simon once protected her. The rest of the episode is messy. Ice King, under the Empress's influence, attacks Marceline. He freezes her and Finn without hesitation. And still, Marcy doesn't retaliate in anger. Even when he shields the Empress from Marceline's final blow, even when he sides with the enemy, she never stops trying to reach him. And in the end, something remarkable happens. The Empress tells Ice King to kill Marceline.
Minion, I order you to kill Marceline.
What? No way. She's my pal.
And he refuses. Not because he remembers, but because something in him, even in that fractured mind, knows she's important. The show reveals he was never truly hypnotized. His mind was too broken for that. He was just following the Empress around because he thought she was pretty. But when it came down to it, he would not hurt Marceline. Not even for her. It's only in the episode The Dark Cloud where we really see how similar Marcy and Simon are. At this point in the series, Marcy asked PB to cure her from her vampirism so that she can become human again, live a normal life, and stop being a relic of the apocalypse. But when the Vampire King's essence that was extracted from her mutates into a massive dark cloud that threatens to consume everything, Marceline is left with a choice. Let others fight for her, or take her powers back. The very powers she fought so hard to remove. And it's here that the show does something brilliant. It echoes her past with Simon, because just like Simon once put on the crown, again and again, to protect a scared little girl in the ruins, Marceline now has to embrace something that could destroy her dark powers, to protect the people she loves. And who shows up when she's sitting alone, afraid? Ice King. They sing together, a song called Was It Reality, something Simon wrote long ago. He doesn't remember writing it, but he remembers her, somewhat. He tells her that being afraid is okay, that hiding isn't weakness, it's survival.
You and me, we're survivors, right? Like cockroaches or rats.
It's weird advice, but it comes from the same instinct Simon had during the aftermath of the Mushroom War. And in that moment, Marceline understands. Simon wasn't weak for wearing the crown. He was strong because he knew the cost and did it anyway. So now, it's her turn. Marceline takes her powers back, not because she wants them, but because they're needed. Just like Simon, she becomes the monster she feared for the sake of someone else. It's a full circle moment, not just in plot, but in love. After this episode, Marceline may have gotten her powers back, but something inside her has changed. For the first time, she truly understands what Simon went through, the weight of sacrificing yourself piece by piece for someone else. It's one thing to remember what someone did for you. It's another thing to live it. She had always mourned who Simon used to be, but now she sees him more clearly than ever. Not as a victim or as a tragic mistake, but as someone who made the hardest choice again and again out of love. Now that she's walked in his shoes, even for a moment, she doesn't keep her distance anymore. She reaches out. Which brings us to Broke His Crown, where Marcy even convinces Princess Bubblegum to hang out with him, saying that it'll be fun. Not out of pity, but because spending time with him still means something. But things aren't stable. Ever since Betty messed with the crown in King's Ransom, Ice King's behavior has been getting weirder, even for him. So Marceline and Bubblegum take him to the lab, and using a VR headset, they dive deep into the crown's subconscious. A maze of memories, identities, and echoes of everyone who's worn it. And there, buried under centuries of madness, is Simon. He recognizes her instantly.
Oh dear, how is this possible?
And what he says after changes everything.
Hey Marcy, last time I was so caught up in making things right with Betty that you got left out. I'm sorry.
He explained how he completely didn't show enough care and love to her when she was briefly himself again in the episode Betty. And Marceline doesn't get angry. She doesn't say he owed her more. She just smiles. Because she finally understands what it's like to carry that kind of weight. To be pulled in every direction and still try to do right by the people you love. Before they leave, she says she'd like to come back and visit him again. But Bubblegum tells her that the crown's reprogramming might not allow it. Simon nods. He understands. And even if they never see each other again, for that one moment, they got to be themselves. Just Marceline and Simon. Not cursed, not broken, just together. The last time we see them together in the main series is Come Along With Me, the end of everything and the quiet beginning of something new. Inside Golb's dimension, Betty sacrifices herself to save Simon. Not by fighting, but by fusing with Golb, becoming part of the very being that threatens to destroy them. It's the only way to keep Simon safe. And in doing so, Betty disappears, and Golb Betty returns. When Simon is ejected from Golb, the Ice King is gone. The magic is gone. And for the first time in what feels like a lifetime, he's just Simon again. But he's not relieved. He's devastated.
Betty! Betty, oh my Betty, my princess. Why did you...
He finally remembers everything. And the person who loved him most is gone. Marceline finds him sitting alone and comforts him.
You're back. It's what she wanted more than anything in the world.
Because that's what she's always done, from the beginning. And in the final montage, we see them again. Simon is in Marceline's house, making popcorn, while she and Bubblegum cuddle on the couch, safe and happy. No magic, no madness, no apocalypse. Just a quiet evening between old friends. Their bond, strained by time, memory, and madness, finally made whole again. Simon and Marceline never got the ending they deserved. Even in Fiona and Cake, the continuation of their arc has yet to be fulfilled. All they had were moments. A soup in the ruins, a call when it mattered, a smile inside a broken crown, and popcorn in a quiet living room. Sometimes love isn't loud. It doesn't need grand gestures or perfect memory. It just needs to last, even when everything else fades. Marceline never saved Simon, and Simon didn't save Marceline. But they stayed, and sometimes that's enough. If you want to see how Marceline learns to live with her own abandonment after Simon left her, check out our video on her relationship with Princess Bubblegum, the episode where they finally work, and what it teaches. See you there.